monkeys.
Izuku Midoriya. He was just a young boy, someone that lived in a beautiful forest in Japan with his mother. Izuku grew up just normally, just like everyone else, but he didn't go to school. He was with nature, learned about it, breathed in it, and everything around him loved him. The animals, the plants, butterflies, insects, all that you can think of. When he would walk by, roses would blossom, plants would flourish, and many other things as well. And that had a lot to do with his mother too. His mother, she was the previous god of nature. And Izuku was to take that place. But the thing is, and the thing that Izuku would not know, is that his mother would pass away and leave him to the role of god of nature. Izuku's memory was wiped entirely. His mother felt this to be, the best course of action, so that her son could grow up, semi-normally. Grow up without mourning his mother. Grow up with the influence of nature itself. And that's exactly what happens with Izuku. Izuku began learning from nature, just like he once did, but he grew up without even knowing he had a mother, knowing that nature would take care of him. And that's exactly what happened. Nature took care of him until he was able to take care of nature. He continued this cycle for a little bit until he was about 15 years old, and he began learning more and more about the outside world, the world outside his beautiful forest. He began searching. He began exploring Japan and many other parts of the world. Izuku was powerful, and powerful may even be an understatement. He was able to travel to places all around the world instantaneously as long as nature was thriving in a certain part of that world. And as long as nature existed, he was able to travel there. He could instantly just maneuver and develop his body all the way there. It could be from Japan to America, or even America to somewhere like France. It didn't matter. He would appear there as long as there was nature thriving. So that's what he began doing. He began searching around the world for places that needed help and places that, were not thriving as much as they should be in terms of nature and in terms of whatever was going on. War was not something Izuku was fond over. He was taught at a young age by, nature, the nature around him, that war bred darkness. War bred destruction. He did not want that for, the nature that he sought to protect. So he would see war and eliminate it, get rid of it, or help guide the people in the right direction to stop. But before they can even thank him, before anything could happen in that at all, he would disappear like a ghost. Izuku was as if he was never there, until eventually he went back to Japan, feeling that this was his semi-home, so he might as well help them. He should have helped them first, but decided to wait on that other countries, other places around the world needed him more at that time, eventually leading to a predicament that he found. He knew that all around the world there were these superpowers, other known as quirks. He personally did not have a quirk. His status of god of nature was not a quirk by any means. It was a power bestowed upon him by nature itself. At least that's what he believed to be true. One day, while in his forest, he began sensing someone running through the sewer, and he went to investigate it. It was a young lady with white hair and red eyes, sprinting through as many people chased her. As she ran through, light began to glow, guiding her to the exit to the forest that Izuku was currently, at. She followed the light and eventually came out of a manhole cover and into a beautiful forest. She walks through the forest slightly with a gash on her side, eventually passing out. Izuku grabs her with his vines and takes her somewhere. He takes her to a lake that has pure healing properties, and he slightly sets her in it and lets her heal as much as she can, eventually leading to her awakening. She questions how she got there. She screams out into the forest at where the person is and how did she end up in this water. Izuku emerges and asks her to please calm down, that she's scaring the animals in the area. She questions him. Who is he? What does he even want? You were hurt, so I healed you. I hope that's okay. You were running from something, and you had a nasty gash on your side. She looks to see that the gash is now gone. It feels like she wasn't hurt at all in the first place. I think I know who you are. Red eyes, white hair. She covers her face and begins walking away. She says that he does not know who she is, and to keep it that way. I guess I don't. Well, you should be going now, I guess. He opens the trees up, and it's a clear pathway to a nearby street. She looks at him and begins questioning why he's even helping her. Oh, I don't know. You seem to have good intentions, I guess. But you can leave whenever you like. The girl leaves and Izuku closes up the trees as he senses more people coming. More specifically, one person, and they're headed right toward Izuku. The person arrives and begins questioning Izuku and why he's there. Hello, I'm actually the guardian of this forest, you could say. It's easier that way to call me that.
What do you mean?
I maintain nature, so I'm the guardian of this forest. What would you like? I believe you to be a racerhead, other known as Shota Aizawa, correct?
You know me, kid.
Yes, I do. I know every impressive and good hero in Japan.
Interesting. Thanks for the compliment, I guess. But did someone run through here? A female?
Yes, actually. White hair, red eyes?
Yes. You saw her?
I did see her. She ran through here. But she was not a threat to my forest, so I let her cross.
I see. Well, kid, I need you to come with me then. We need more information.
I'm sorry. I cannot help you. I cannot go with you. I need to protect the forest. For now. Aizawa then nods, telling him to be careful and to be safe. Before Aizawa leaves though, he turns back and activates his quirk. What I have is not a quirk, Mr. Aizawa. Don't worry, I'm not a threat to you.
Okay. I'll have to take your word for it.
Eraserhead then leaves the forest, and Izuku decides that it's time for him to do his, due diligence in terms of the hero society in Japan. So, that's what he does. He begins going into different parts of Japan and, watching various other, heroes at work. Some definitely of honorable stature, but many others far from it. He began thinking, what is wrong with this society? What is the problem with heroes? Why do they act in such a greedy or vengeful way, oftentimes? And why do they feel that they're entitled to this? Izuku eventually came across a conclusion, an idea that he feels is the reason for just that. All Might, the symbol of peace. Yes, Izuku does believe that All Might is pretty important for society, but he has made society, complacent. He's made heroes complacent. He's made everybody complacent. Everybody feels that they can just do whatever they want, that they have All Might to come and save them. This must have some repercussions on the pro hero. This must have repercussions on, well, All Might himself. He takes it upon himself to be the so-called symbol of peace. And what is that causing him? Is that causing him to go mad? Is it keeping him grounded? Izuku doesn't know. He needs to, well, gain more information to know that for sure. And that all starts with the person he saw. The person that went through his forest. The girl with the white hair and the red eyes. He's questioning. He's questioning who that person was, and is she truly a villain? Is she truly someone that should be hunted by heroes? So, he begins searching for her, eventually finding someone very similar to her in a cafe. Izuku can tell that she's wearing, well, a wig and contacts. She's sitting drinking coffee, and he sits down as well. She looks up and shows a very shocked look on her face. "Hello, miss." She proceeds to basically get up and is about to leave, but Izuku asks her to please sit back down and that he's just here to chat. She does just that and asks what he wants. "I'm just curious. Why were you running away in the sewer that one time I saw you?" "It's pretty simple, actually. I was getting chased down by heroes. Any other questions?" But why were you getting chased down by heroes is, I guess, the real question here." "You don't need to know that. Now please leave me alone." "Okay, as you wish." She gets up and she's about to leave. And Izuku then appears in front of her as she exits the store. "You know, I'm just here to help. Just curious at what this society has for, well, people like you and me." "What do you mean by people like you and me?" "I don't know. Misunderstood? I'm isolated, just as much as you are, just for different reasons." "Okay, what do you want then?" "I just want information. That's all. Can we start with your name?" "You don't know who I am?" "No, I do not." "Well, let me tell you. You can call me Sophie. But I'm, well, the villain they know as All for One." Izuku just smiles and puts out his hand. "Nice to meet you, Sophie." She is shocked by this. She's never been greeted in such a way, especially by someone who's this nice. Every time she ever reveals herself to be the villain that is known around Japan as the worst to ever grace Earth, well, she is dismissed. She is tried to throw in prison. She is hunted down by heroes. "I know what you're thinking. But I have no relation to any heroes, villains, anything alike, vigilantes. I'm just the guardian of the forest, you could say. So, if you don't mind, can you please tell me what this society has for me?" "Yeah, sure, why not? Follow me." Izuku follows, well, Sophie, or All for One, all the way to her base. And when they enter, she tells him that if he tells anybody where she is, that she'll kill him. Yeah, that's fair enough. They walk in and they begin talking. She begins explaining what this society is, that he must be sheltered or something if he can't see it himself. All Might, yes, he seems face value that he's some symbol of peace, someone that helps everybody. But even the top heroes are corrupt. Everybody seems to be corrupt. To a certain extent, All Might has gone off the deep end with his, well, ideologies. Everyone seems to be at that point. She begins saying that from a young age, she realized this. She tried to change things, tried to make things different. But when they realized what she was doing, and also realized her quirk, well, things began to change. Yes, the person that wielded this quirk a long time ago, well, wasn't the best person, and she God gifted it. She isn't sure why. Maybe it was out of pity. Maybe it was because they were related in some sort of way, but she doesn't know. But now she knows that she wants to do better and make this society better. I see. I have, well, suspicions about this one, well, by you call All Might, but I'm not sure. I would like to do my own research on this. I've actually kind of neglected Japan, and I truly apologize for that. It's my job to, well, help the best I possibly can if nature involves, and frankly, humans are just as much important in nature as, well, the plants around. So, I want to do more as well then. I will do my own little bit of research. I appreciate you, Sophie. Thank you so much. She questions why he's thanking her, that nobody ever thanks her. Well, I just feel like you gave me useful information. And of course, when you get useful information from somebody, you always have to say thank you. Well, Sophie, I'll make sure to not disclose, well, your location to anybody else, and I'll be on my way. Zuko begins to leave, and she asks, where is he going? Just around Japan. Nothing too drastic. He heads off and actually finds a flyer that interests him. It says that the UA Sports Festival is in the next couple days. So, he decides that in a couple days, he'll head to the school by the name of UA. He later finds out that this is one of the top schools in Japan for, well, heroes. Or at least heroes in training. Well, after a couple days pass, he then makes his way to UA. When he enters, he sees various other pro heroes, many guarding the area. He wonders why is that. He wonders if the security for this is because of a villain attack or because of something else. So he walks in and takes his seat, and he sits next to somebody that he finds very familiar. How'd you know I was here? Actually, I didn't know you were here. I most likely came here for a relatively same reason as you. And what is that? Well, I just wanted to see the future generation. I want to see what they're doing to become great heroes. And I'm curious to see if, well, All Might will be here. She nods and says that he most likely will be, and they sit and watch the entirety of the sports festival. Eventually watching the entire sports festival, seeing all these heroes or future heroes in training getting recognition from the crowd, eventually leading to Izuku, well, leaving. Sophie catches up to him and they both walk out. But as they do, someone drops in front of them. It's All Might himself. After, well, giving the medals away, he realized he saw someone that looked very familiar. And that was this girl. He grabs her by the arm and Izuku proceeds to step forward. Please let go of her. That's not very hero-like, All Might.
Oh, you do not understand, citizen. This is not who you think it is.
I see. Well, you don't seem to be the person I thought you were as well. You seem angry, Mr. All Might. Frustrated. Now why is that? All Might scoffs at this and tells the citizen that he thinks, well, is just a normal person to go. But quickly, Izuku breaks his grip and gets them both away from him. They begin running away as All Might is in hot pursuit. You know I could have got away myself. Yes, I know. They enter an alley and all that is there is, well, a wall, puddles, and some plants growing about. All Might is about to basically close the distance and enter the alley, but when he does, they're gone. Izuku made them both fall straight into the puddle that was near them, and they immediately ended up back at the forest that he grew up in. Where are we? We're back at the forest, where I, healed your injury. Now that was interesting. All Might, the symbol of peace. He seems to be out of whack, or how could I say it? Not very heroic. I wonder what's wrong with him. She nods her head and says that he's been like this for the last couple years, and no one has really noticed it because of the deeds he does. But she has noticed herself that All Might has slowly but surely been deteriorating, hasn't been the same hero he once was. I guess this world is a lot more complicated than I expected. Well, Izuku is in his forest with All For One, and she decides that she has to leave. She has some business to attend to. She needs to, build up a, force of some sorts. And Izuku nods, telling her not to do anything too rash or stupid, because if she does something too villainous or outlandish, he will not be here to help. That he's here to change this world, not hurt it more than already it is. And she kind of, nods and walks away. He opens his forest and she walks out toward the street. Izuku then decides to think. He wants to find a way to maybe help out more. And that chance occurs a couple days after the fact. Aizawa begins searching for Izuku, and he ends up finding him. And Izuku senses him through the sewers as Aizawa begins searching, and he guides Aizawa to where he is. Hello. It's good to see you again, Eraserhead. Yeah, nice to see you, kid. Or are you a kid? I guess I'm a kid, technically. I'm sort of immortal, in a way, but that's a whole different topic. What would you like to speak with me about? Well, I'm curious. I've heard some things through the grapevine. Is it true that this society is more corrupt than I expected? Yes, actually. Very much so. Including your so-called symbol of peace, All Might, unfortunately. He was, before, definitely a symbol of peace, but now it seems he's slightly more corrupted. I see. Well, I was wondering if you could help me out. Help you out? Like how? I want you to come to UA. As a student? Excuse me, Aizawa, I definitely don't need to be a student. No, I want you to teach the students some things. I want you to be a teacher for, hero training. All Might left UA some time ago. I mean, he was only there for a couple months, and I guess that kind of confirms the suspicions of him doing some, outlandish or illegal activity. Yeah, I can see why you would think that. Yeah, sure. As long as it's not a trap, I will definitely come to UA. It's not a trap. No reason for me to trap you. You can probably beat most of the pro heroes anyways, and I can't cancel your quirk. So, like I said, it's not a quirk. So, you would be correct. You can't cancel something that's not there. Well, why not? Lead the way. Aizawa leads the way. They head back to UA in a car that was sent to them in a nearby, gas station. They head over, and when they arrive, Aizawa tells Izuku that he actually will get him set up in a dorm, with his own class, since they have an extra room. Yeah, that sounds great to me. So that's exactly what they do. They get him set up in a dorm, and they go talk to, Principal Nezu. They knock on Principal Nezu's door, and he obviously lets them in. Aizawa and Izuku walk in, and Nezu actually is shocked by the appearance of Izuku. Aizawa is visibly confused by this, and Nezu begins explaining. You see, Aizawa, I've read a lot about this person. This person is, the god of nature, correct? Yeah, that is me. It's a pleasure to meet you. Nezu is shocked by this and didn't actually believe this to be true, but the whole demeanor matches up perfectly. Perfectly. And well, Aizawa is surprised that Nezu knows, but he goes on with business.
Okay, listen. I want him to be a teacher, at least for now, just to fill in. I have a couple lessons that I want him to teach my students, and maybe even class 1B students, depending. I just need him to help out a bit. How about it?
Yes, that is just fine. What do you say? Yeah, I don't mind. Definitely not. If you don't mind, I would like to get a couple things more settled in, well, my room for now. Nezu allows them to leave, and Izuku heads back to the dorms with Aizawa. Aizawa explains to him that, well, class is finally out, so he's gonna have to kinda make up some excuse why he's there, and that tell them that he's just a student for now. Okay, sounds good. I'll let them know. Aizawa leaves, and Izuku walks in, and, well, the class is all waiting in, well, the living room. Everyone begins to question who he is and why he's here. Oh, I'm, well, a new student. Well, transfer student. They ask him what school he transferred from, and he says that he actually never went to a hero school. It was just some regular high school. So now he's here because, well, UA reached out and he showed some potential. They are actually all surprised, but, I mean, Bakugo, of course, scoffs at this, saying that if he couldn't get into a lower tier hero school, then he must be useless. Well, that is definitely one way to look at it. Well, I'm gonna be going to my room now. Izuku heads up and gets all completely settled, and well, the next day then arrives. Aizawa greets his entire class and begins explaining, well, what they are going to be doing.
Listen up, this is what we'll be doing. It's pretty simple actually. A new teacher is gonna, well, join you all, and he's gonna teach you some things. Some, well, important things about being a hero. Being able to sense your surroundings and assess threats properly. Also, this is important. You need to be able to protect and fight at the same time, and choose who you want to, well, protect and fight. Sometimes a hero needs to, well, make a sacrifice, to throw their body into harm's way to make sure a civilian is safe, but also so that the other heroes can defeat the villain. This is important, so keep that in mind while we do this training.
Everyone gets pretty excited, and that they've never done a training like this before. And well, as they talk, Izuku walks in.
Good, he's here.
Everyone is confused.
What the hell? This damn nerd? He was one of the students. He's a transfer.
Yeah, about that. I kinda lied. I'm gonna be your teacher for today. Everyone is shocked, and they begin questioning that he's as young as them. How is he gonna be their teacher? How do they even know he's strong?
He's very strong. Actually, scratch that. Let's do some training, how about it? If you want to question how strong he is, then let's question it. Everybody go to the gym.
Everyone begins laughing, saying that there's no way some kid is as strong as them, especially because he's the same age as them. There's no way. So they all head to the gym, and Izuku basically stands waiting. They all ask who's going first, and Aizawa says they're all going at the same time. They all begin getting, well, flashbacks to a while back when they fought against, well, one of the members of the Big Three by the name of Mirio Togata, and they begin asking and questioning themselves if this person is that strong. But no, they can't be. Mirio has had more, well, experience. This has to be a fluke. There's no way he's that strong. Well, I guess since we're doing this will be a great lesson for teamwork. If you all work together, maybe you will have a chance of laying a hit on me. Everyone is shocked by the cockiness of Izuku, but he seemed so calm when he said this, so assured of himself.
Like I'm gonna need any of these extras to beat you. I'll do it by myself.
Bakugo blasts forward, and Todoroki actually follows up as well, thinking that, well, maybe he should take this opportunity to try to get a shot in as well. So he blasts ice at him while Bakugo charges, and well, Bakugo is quickly wrapped up in the vines and slammed into the ground. Now, let's see what else you got. He slams his hand on the ground, and well, grass and other nature begins growing everywhere. You see, environment is important when you're fighting, and knowing your environment is just as important. You need to know who is going to be a liability, and he points at Bakugo, and who's going to work with you. Someone that runs into the face of danger may be good, but with a cocky attitude and underestimating somebody, it's not good. Just like how you saw here. Now, if you don't mind, let's continue. Everybody begins trying to work together and fight Izuku, but nothing would work. Izuku would quickly parry and kick people out of the way, or grab them with vines, slamming them into different areas of the gym. And Izuku isn't even showing nowhere near his full power. He begins growing basically animals out of nowhere. The animals begin surrounding Class 1A, and Izuku quickly defeats all of them. And after defeating them, he asks them one more time, "So, do you think I'm worthy enough to teach you?" They all nod and they apologize for questioning it, and he says that it's just fine. So he goes about teaching them. He teaches them everything that they need to know about analyzing situations, and frankly, he's really good at that. He's good at seeing the villain in a hero, and well, a hero in a villain. He's an unbiased source of reason. All he cares about is nature. And nature, peace, tranquility, and he even sees villains in some of the, well, animals and creatures that are in nature. For instance, he knows that there are creatures out there that just go around killing things for unlawful reasons, and that's just the way the cycle goes. But with humans, that can be controlled, and he truly believes that, and he wants to bestow that, well, into Class 1A the best he possibly can. After doing so, Aizawa thanks him for the lesson and says that, well, he might have to do it for Class 1B as well. As he says this, Vlad King actually does approach him.
Yeah, sorry to intrude, but I would love to have my class learn a couple things under you. I mean, since you're gonna be here for the next couple days, correct?
Yeah, sure, I would love to do that. I don't mind at all. Vlad King thanks him, and well, the next day then arrives. Izuku begins teaching Class 1B. Begins teaching them through various other means though, since they know that they're not going to challenge him and they're a lot more, well, modest in that regard. He tries a different method. He picks two people out of Class 1B, Ibara and Kendo, and tells them that there's a couple things they need to know, especially in the fact of protecting a civilian in the midst of battle, and that it matters a lot. Kendo will be the villain, and well, Ibara will be the hero. The hero must protect, well, Ibara tells Izuku that she'll protect him with her life, and that she basically starts more or less like drooling over him, and Izuku kind of laughs about this. And everybody in Class 1B actually has never seen this before. Normally she's this person that talks about not being holy enough, so it's weird to see her like this, but I guess Izuku would be kind of her type based on what her quirk is. And well, he basically tells them that Kendo will attack both of them. She will try to basically get to Ibara via trying to strike Izuku. Okay everyone, please watch closely while this battle happens. Okay, you may begin. Kendo charges forward with her big hands quirk and attacks Ibara, and can't really get across at all to Izuku, but she decides to make a play in terms of trying to attack Izuku without her noticing. She tries to attack Izuku and it catches Ibara off guard. She tries to protect him and quickly she counters back and basically lands a good solid hit on Ibara, hitting her out of the way.
Exactly what I was expecting from you. You're very impressive, Kendo. Now, this is a simple lesson you need to know. Protecting is hard, and protecting should be the basis of, well, your hero work. And protecting is what matters most, not winning the fight necessarily. You see how she had to adjust to basically protect me? If she was already in a defensive-oriented battle style to protect a civilian, she wouldn't have had to deal with this, and Kendo would have had a lot more, struggle to get to me. The class is surprised that this is such a smart but obvious thing that nobody even really thought of. That your fighting style and everything you do will be different depending on every situation. Not just because of the villain's quirk, but also because of the people around you. It could be different because of other quirks that heroes have, and it could be different because, there's a civilian right behind you fearing for their life. Izuku nods at basically their conclusion and says that they did an amazing job. Actually better than Class 1A. Monoma begins to gloat, saying that he knew it, that they are better than Class 1A, and he begins spewing nonsense as Kendo chops his neck and apologizes for his little outburst. He does that sometimes. He says that it's just fine, and Izuku finishes up class, and Vlad King in Class 1B thank him for, all the help. He says that it's really no problem, and that he will be around if they need him, and he has to, work on some things. Izuku heads back to the dorm and goes into his room. But as he does this, he basically leaves and he appears somewhere else in an alleyway where the All for One's base is currently located. He approaches it and enters. As he enters, someone attacks him with blue fire, but he quickly blocks it. Hey, I'm friendly. Please don't attack. Sophie sees him and asks what is he doing here, and Izuku says that he just came to check in and see what they're, planning. And she basically says that they're planning to expose All Might the best they possibly can. Not sure exactly how, but hopefully they can open up an avenue to do just that. That sounds interesting. Well, if you are able to do any of that, let me know. And for you, fire is very dangerous. You don't want to hurt anybody. All for One then introduces Izuku to this person by the name of Dabi. Oh, Dabi. You seem familiar. Very familiar. Dabi then responds that he's related to someone that he may know of. Oh, yes, you're related to Endeavor, correct? I assume he's not of, interest either. Well, I wish you both the best of luck, and like I said, don't do anything too rash. And, I will most likely be seeing you both very soon. Izuku leaves, and Dabi questions Sophie at who that person is, and she says that it's someone that helped her a while back, and he's a good person. Dabi kind of makes fun of her, saying that she obviously has something for him or has something with him, and All for One tells him to shut up. Some more time passes and Izuku continues his, minor teaching job with UA, helping the future of, Hero Society, until, one day he was out and about and he began hearing something through his vines, feeling something. It was late at night and he was wondering what it was exactly. It felt powerful. It felt exactly like All Might, like the day that All Might chased them both. And he begins sensing something else. He begins following his vines through, nature, and eventually he steps in a puddle and he dissolves into it, searching exactly where this sense of, threat is coming from. Now to the threat. All Might is currently chasing down both Dabi and All for One. They caught him in an illegal act. All Might is actually currently using quirk enhancement drugs to make sure that he can keep up, with what his job is to do. he may be turning slowly but surely into a so-called villain. All Might isn't himself. He, well, not only got these drugs, but he killed the person that gave it to him so that, well, nobody would know of it. And, well, Dabi and All For One got wind of this and is currently in the process of trying to expose him with, well, video recording of the incident. And, well, they're currently stuck in an alleyway outside of All For One's base, and All Might stands in front of them.
You know, this could have been easier, but you decided to do this to yourself.
All Might jabs something into his leg, a needle of some sort, and he begins getting amped up on power. All For One tells Dabi to get behind him, or behind her, and she puts up a force field trying to block the strike. All Might, tens of times stronger than normal, charges at All For One and slams his fist into the barrier. And, well, smoke is everywhere.
Now you got what you deserve, you villain.
The smoke then slowly but surely clears, and the force field is shattered. But behind the force field is vines, is a protective layer, kind of like a cocoon surrounding the three of them. Izuku unravels it and stares at All Might, and lightning begins to strike around him. Now, All Might, that wasn't very heroic, was it? All Might questions who he is and why he's protecting a villain. I'm not protecting a villain by any means. Frankly, I'm just fighting one. All Might is shocked by this, and by some twerp is telling him this. And All Might tells him to move over, or he'll die with All For One as well. Izuku, for the first time, is visibly frustrated, pissed off. This is not what he wanted to see. All Might trying to kill somebody that is actually trying to make a difference, even if he doesn't want to get exposed or not. He doesn't care anymore. Well, All Might, it seems you do not, well, fit for this society anymore. I guess I'm gonna have to handle my business. Izuku begins to grow plants everywhere, and All Might smirks.
You really think you're gonna get out of this alive? Nobody will even know what occurred here today. Your bodies will never be found.
All Might charges in and begins striking, or trying to strike down, Izuku. Izuku blocks everything that is thrown at him, but All Might realizes that he can't lose this fight and cannot let these people, well, leave. So he takes a needle and jabs it into his leg. Izuku spreads his vines even thicker to block the attack, but they're blown away quickly. Izuku looks back to, well, Sophie and Dabi and puts small puddles beneath them. They both ask what the hell does he think he's doing, and he just smiles. Don't worry about me, I'll be just fine. He then makes them disappear. They immediately are sent back to All For One's base, and Izuku continues to fight off All Might. As this fight continues, Izuku can feel his ground slipping beneath him. Whatever drugs that are pumping through All Might's veins right now is allowing him to keep up. Izuku can feel this rush in his body, this need to make sure that he gets the job done. He wraps All Might in vines, and basically electricity begins to surround him. He begins to output lightning, and, well, a thunderstorm begins to brew overhead. All Might begins looking around in complete confusion and shock. Now, All Might, there's no reason for you to fight anymore. This isn't who you were, but it is who you are now. So I'm gonna give you one last chance to... Before Izuku can finish his sentence, All Might breaks free of the vines and charges at Izuku. But Izuku basically retaliates with a lightning bolt that gets sent at All Might, shocking him, stunning him for, well, the time being. Immediately, All Might tries to fight back, but his quirk isn't at full capacity anymore. For some reason, his quirk is limited, maybe even halted. He's confused.
What the hell did you do?
Aizawa is on the roof with a bunch of more heroes watching the fight below.
It wasn't him. It was me.
Izuku quickly knocks out All Might using, well, the opening that Aizawa was able to give him. Izuku, after getting All Might cuffed and restrained and sent to the police, he thanks Aizawa for the help and thanks that he came with backup as soon as possible. Aizawa tells him that, well, it's just fine, and then he owed him a favor anyways after helping with, well, all the classes and such. I appreciate that. It means a lot. But I think there is still some other things I need to deal with. So I'm gonna do just that. I'll see you soon. Izuku leaves and arrives at, well, All For One's base once again. Sophie then explains to Izuku that they have, well, footage of, well, All Might himself basically taking the drugs and using them, obviously, and they've just posted it on a news broadcast that will, well, come out right now. Not too long after, that news broadcast then exposes All Might, and they even begin questioning the validity of some of these heroes, and that, well, the Hero Commission really needs to look into it. And Izuku nods, thinking that, well, this is basically over. And he's not completely wrong, but there is someone else that may become a problem in the future. Endeavor, well, Dabi's father, may become an issue. But Izuku doesn't have that in mind for now, thinking that they have whatever is needed to defeat whoever comes next. So Izuku heads back to his forest and just stays there for a while until, well, someone actually shows up. It's Sophie. She begins asking why he hasn't come around. Oh, well, my job is done. I mean, at least for now. I need to, well, go help some more people around the world. She begins asking if it's just like that he's gonna leave. Yes, actually. Why, do you ask? She begins wondering what exactly is he gonna do and if maybe she could, well, tag along. He's surprised by this and kind of smiles. You want to tag along? I mean, you can for sure if you really want to, but I'm gonna be traveling a lot. She says that it's just fine and that she, well, wants to, well, help out the best she possibly can. Izuku knows that this is only partly true and just agrees without questioning anymore. So him and Sophie begin doing the job of, well, the god of nature. Izuku begins scouring the world, basically helping as many people as possible, and even sees on the news that Endeavor was caught doing, well, foul things as well. And rumors spread that he even abused his family and did other underhanded things while being one of the top heroes. Izuku is glad that they could find out, well, the corrupted heroes in this society, and Izuku continued on with his life with, well, Sophie, and they began to bond really close, and eventually they came together as a couple. But this would kind of get very bumpy in the near future. When everything was settled down for a little bit, Izuku and Sophie headed back to the forest that Izuku stayed in. And, well, the forest, while he was gone, even created a cabin for them to, well, live in. But the thing is, Izuku was missing a key detail that he never knew about. Not about Sophie, but about himself. Something appeared. Someone appeared, actually, and it was the, well, embodiment of the forest. Or at least that's what he thought. But what he didn't know is that it was his mother. Well, the image of his mother. And that is what the forest began telling him. The forest began explaining that his mother died a long time ago. And she and the forest agreed to wipe his memory of such an event for now, so that he can learn the way of protecting nature. Izuku is shocked by this and doesn't know what to even say. And then the forest continues, saying that, well, everybody felt in nature that it was time for Izuku to know his complete heritage and who he came from. And the mother that basically raised him until she, well, had to pass because of the passing of the label of the god of nature. Izuku is shocked by this and begins asking, does that mean if he has a child that he'll die as well? The forest nods and says that that is a good possibility, but that isn't 100%. It could just be because his mother obviously was a female, and it might be something to do with that. Thank you for this information. I appreciate it. I'll keep in touch as usual, and I'll, well, help out the best I possibly can, even if, well, the inevitable death does come. Izuku walks away, and Inko, the embodiment of the forest, is shocked by this. Izuku seems so calm, so down to earth about the scenario, and well, that's because he already knows what is about to occur and doesn't want to tell Sophie. Sophie is currently pregnant with his child, but he doesn't care. He's not going to do anything drastic to try and save his own life because, frankly, he doesn't care. He only cares about nature and the safety of it. And to him, this is the safety of nature. So, time passes. Well, precisely about 9 months, and Izuku has his child. Or, well, Sophie has the child. And life goes on pretty smoothly until the child is about 6 years old, and Izuku began getting sick. The plants around him would be dead, dying slowly but surely, and well, Izuku then reveals what is occurring. He explains to Sophie that there wasn't a guarantee, but there was a high probability of this happening, that the god of nature powers would be passed down to, well, the son or daughter that he has. And well, that's currently happening, and when the transfer is complete, that means he'll die as well. Sophie is confused by this and says that she'll find a way to save him, but Izuku tells her not to worry about it and that it's not a big deal. She disagrees that this is a massive deal. This is important, that he can't just die and leave. Not ever. And Izuku is saddened by this, but tells her that everything would be fine, that there would be a new god of nature, and that she would have a little Izuku to take care of. She shakes her head and disagrees, and that she says that they both need to be there to take care of their child. Well, during this conversation, someone is currently listening. Someone deep in the skies. He crashes down and approaches the, well, cabin. Izuku knows exactly who this is. Exactly who this, well, another god is. It's the god of the skies, and Izuku greets him in, and he makes a joke, basically saying that Izuku looks a little worse for wear. All for one, or well, Sophie gets mad by this and points a black tendril at his neck. He says that it was just a joke, and he's actually here to help. Here to help? How are you supposed to help? Well, here's the thing. You know me. I'm single as usual, and I have no person to pass my power on to. But, luckily I don't die when I pass my power on to. My power's not as amazing as your Izuku's, Miss Sophie. And well, I want to pass this power down to your son. It's a long shot, but it may separate the link between the god of nature. He'd still be your son by all means, but you wouldn't have to worry about losing your life. Izuku thinks about this for a second, but disagrees, saying that the link cannot be broken that easily. It wouldn't make sense. But Sophie says that they have to try, and that it's not like they're losing their son, they're just giving him a new opportunity. Actually, Izuku Jr. does then run in and questions what's happening and asks the new person that's there what is occurring. He walks over to the little Izuku and pats him on the head, saying that his father is, well, mildly sick right now, and that they have a way to, well, help him if he wants to help. And of course, Izuku Jr. says that he would love to help, anything to get his father better. Izuku slightly smiles and allows, well, the God of Skies to do exactly that. The God of Skies transfers his power to Izuku Jr., and, well, the dead bushes and the gloomy atmosphere that was around Izuku, the vines that were now gray and dead, began to grow back, gained their green once again, and Izuku Jr. began to float. He floats over to Izuku and begins getting happy, saying that he helped his dad get better. The God of the Skies then says that they have a lot to do, and, well, they can come and visit, and they'll come down every so often for Izuku Jr. to, well, see his parents, and that they can come up whenever they want as well, and that Izuku has the power to do so. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sophie hugs Izuku and says that she's super happy that he isn't going to die, and Izuku Jr. is explained the entire situation. He is young, but just like his father and his mother, he's very intelligent and understands. And he says that now that they can both be, well, gods together when he gets older. Izuku slightly laughs at this and says that yes, they definitely can be. So, Izuku Jr. and the former God of the Skies, then fly off together, and they wave goodbye. Sophie smiles as they fly off, and they watch as their son floats in the air like, well, an angel. More like a guardian angel that just saved his own father.